chaps, DC Wood is here again. We are now on episode 21 of my reviews for the Arrowverse, and today we're now looking at the second animated show for the Arrowverse, Freedom Fighters: The Ray. Hope you're all okay, everyone. Where am I up to with life? I've had both my COVID jabs now, fully vaccinated, thankfully. I've been busy with family and work as always, and theatre rehearsals and other projects. I'm also off on holiday this week, and I've finally been able to catch up with friends I haven't been able to as well for over a year. And I have some good family times as well. Plus, I've had a moment to catch up on my Arrowverse review series at last, finally. As always, I apologise for leaving this series on hiatus. Rest assured, I am going to finish it. I am going to review every single entry in the Arrowverse. I am on the last few episodes of Stargirl Season 1 now, so I will get round to reviewing that in due course. So now we have Freedom Fighters: The Ray. This is the second animated web series for the Arrowverse. The first, of course, being Vixen, back in 2015, and this was intended as a tie-in for the legendary Crisis on Earth X crossover back in 2017. The entire first season of Freedom Fighters: The Ray streamed on the CW CDAP on 8th of December 2017, consisting of 6 episodes, each spanning 6 to 8 minutes. Crisis on Earth X, I've discussed this so often, it was a milestone for the Arrowverse. It was one of the greatest achievements ever for DC Comics, superheroes, and television in general. In the epic crossover which brought Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow together, where at the time there were still 53 discovered Earths out of an infinite number of possibilities, and where we were introduced to the unspeakable Earth X. The Nazis triumphed in World War II. In the decades that followed, the Nazis have conquered, crushed, enslaved and or executed any and all who oppose them and those who they consider an abomination. Be it sexuality, religion, colour, gender, all suffer the extreme prejudice of the Nazis on present-day Earth X. In a valiant last stand against the tyrants, the Ray, leader of the Freedom Fighters, is forced to flee to Earth 1. In death, he passes on his powers to his unsuspecting Earth 1 counterpart, Ray Terrell. Now thrust into the superhero limelight and bequeathed with amazing powers, can Ray embrace his destiny and safeguard the futures of 2 Earths from the Nazis? Can Ray become the Ray? Like Vixen, Freedom Fighters: The Ray has been produced by Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Animation, and Blue Ribbon Content. As I said when I reviewed that Vixen show, I really loved it. It was a bite-sized accompaniment to Arrow and the Flash, and the events of that show were utilised brilliantly in Legends of Tomorrow. Vixen was part of the Arrowverse canon, and whilst it couldn't compare to a full action live series, it was still delightful and really, really lovely and essential. And after Crisis on Earth X, I was hoping Freedom Fighters: The Ray would prove worthy of that event. Does it? Well, to start, Season 1 benefits from having the same production values that Vixen had. In terms of animation, this show is great. There are some wonderfully fluid sequences, and the show provides even more backstory for Earth 1 Ray Terrell here. I liked the Ray in Crisis on Earth X. He was a good character, and I'm a Russell Tovey fan as well. I loved Russell Tovey for his appearance in Doctor Who, Voyage of the Damned. He was great in Sherlock's adaptation of Hound of the Baskervilles, and he was great in Earth X. So I'm really, really pleased that Russell reprised his role here of the Ray. Season 1 does a good job of exploring Ray's origins on Earth One and who he is as a person. He's certainly a much different character before he became the Ray, and it's good getting to meet family and friends in his life, such as John Trujillo and Jenny Knight. We also get to see Cisco Ramon, Carlos Valdez, and Caitlin Snow. Danielle Panabaker make an appearance at Star Labs. We also see the Red Tornado here. He actually receives proper characterization here, something he completely lacked in his previous live-action appearances. And Earth X remains as desolate and nightmarish as we remember from that crisis. It's a terrible threat, with its inhabitants feebly struggling to hang on to hope, and the freedom fighters simply outmatched against the Nazi regime and its leaders. Speaking of which, we have Melissa Benoist back in the role of Overgirl here, and she's just as she's perfect as Supergirl, she remains as perfect as one of the Earth X villains. This Kara is ruthless, cold, unforgiving, everything Earth 38's Kara could have been if she'd ended in the wrong place. Overgirl is the perfect antagonist for freedom fighters, and it's another reminder of just how versatile Melissa truly is. The first season is very nicely paced for what it is, approximately totaling 30-35 minutes, and it ends on a good cliffhanger, which leads into season 2. I have to be honest though, this isn't as good as Vixen. To be frank, it's mostly terrible. As well produced as this show is, the potential of freedom fighters for Ray, it's squandered because of the writing, the handling of its central character. As I said, I like Ray Terrell. I really did in Crisis on Earth X, but you're not invested in his journey here, not like you were for Mari McCabe or any other hero in the Arrowverse you could name. There's a lot of cringeworthy material in this show, some really embarrassing moments that the character has to endure, and I asked myself why. None of the things that happen here are particularly inspiring, or it doesn't endear you to the character. It doesn't endear you to the character. Not like the journeys of Oliver Queen, or Barry Allen, or Cara Danvers, or John Constantine, or Sarah Lance, or Kate Kane. It's just a mess, really. The Ray's first season also wears its politics on its sleeve. Now, I know that's nothing new for these CW shows. They incorporate politics and real life scenarios left, right, and centre, especially for shows like Batwoman, Supergirl, and Black Lightning. And usually, I'm fine with that. Especially for Supergirl and Black Lightning, where they actually use the politics and the real life scenarios to actually serve the characters, to showcase how brilliant the characters are, to further develop some brilliant, fantastic storylines. But for Freedom Fighters for Ray, it feels way more preachy than any of those shows. It feels like it's just about the politics more than anything else, and it doesn't really serve the characters or the story, with the exception of the apocalyptic Earth X scenario, which continues to serve as an excellent exploration of the depravity of the Nazi fascism and the threat it poses to not just Earth 1, but the whole multiverse. What's most annoying about Freedom Fighters for Ray Season 1, and this is a problem that carries over into Season 2, is that it doesn't tie in with Crisis on Earth X. It just can't. It doesn't. Normally, the Arrowverse prides itself on having such tight continuity, not just throughout the individual shows, but across the whole spectrum, in comics, in web series, as well as live action and other tie-in media. There are so many nods and references, it usually all fits together seamlessly. Basically, the problem here is Earth 1 heroes become aware of Earth X and the Ray, even meeting and mentoring Ray Terrell before Barry and Iris's wedding. That didn't happen in the crossover, and as cool as it is to see Matthew Mercer as the Black Arrow and Scott White as Blitzkrieg, these ain't the Dark Arrow and the Reverse Flash. They aren't even here when they should be. Where are Dark Arrow and the Reverse Flash? Where are they? Now, the reason why these enormous gaffes happened, it's because Mark Guggenheim and Andrew Kreisberg weren't seeing eye to eye at this point, and it was shortly after Crisis on Earth X when the Andrew Kreisberg scandal came out, and Kreisberg himself was subsequently fired from Warner Brothers Television. Hence, it is understandable why there's such a massive continuity cock-up in Freedom Fighters. But it's still really frustrating because you're struggling to fit this in with the main Arrowverse, and you can't. And that takes away a lot of the enjoyment factor and makes it feel nowhere near as essential as Vixen. Because of its problematic production, lackluster characterization, over-the-top preachy values, and some massive continuity errors, Freedom Fighters for Ray Season 1 is a grossly missed opportunity. There is some good stuff to be found, namely Russell Tovey, Melissa Benoist, Red Tornado, and, as I said, the action sequences, the animation is wonderful to behold as well. But whereas Vixen was integral and worthy of the Arrowverse live action shows, Freedom Fighters for Ray simply isn't. If you're a completist like me, pick this up, check it out for yourselves and see what you think. It's certainly not the absolute pits like Arrow Season 4 was, but this is very near the bottom of the barrel, and it's a real shame. Overall rating, 4 out of 10. What did you guys think of Freedom Fighters for Ray Season 1? Please discuss. I love chatting with you guys. Please click like and subscribe. Next time we close out the 2017-18 period of the Arrowverse with a new show, Black Lightning Season 1. Looking forward to reviewing that one. Stay tuned and see you again soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.